For the second one, really the first two for the price of one for the Tigers.
16 years he's waited to play in a World Series, and he's just hit his first World Series home run.
Here's the story of the inning, of the game, of the series, of the year.
I'm Kirk Gibson, and here I sit with legends from the Tigers past, from the 50s to 2017 when we taped this. My teammate Alan Trammell, and of course, Mr. Tiger, Al Kaline. We welcome everybody here. You know, I grew up in Waterford, Michigan, so basically you could say I was a hometown guy. And I grew in an affection for the Tiger D from the day I was born, and it was a dream come true when I got to play for the Detroit Tigers. Tram, what was it that stuck in your mind that made you have such an affection for the Tiger D and to want to play there for 20 years like you did?
Well, first of all, you know me that I was a sports fanatic before I actually became a Tiger, and so I was following all the sports as a young boy, you know, watching the '68 Tigers, but at that time that was the gleam in my eye. But I just remember, you know, Al obviously, and Bill Freehan and the rest of the guys, and of course, last 30-game winner, Denny McLain.
How about you, Al?
Well, I go way back, and of course, I wasn't involved in the draft. I could sign with anybody I wanted to, and I had 3 teams that offered me bonuses to play for. The one that offered me the most, my dad said, no, you're not going to play for them because you won't get a chance to play. It wasn't my favorite team at that time, but I love them now.
And what was that bonus, by the way?
I got $15,000 bonus.
And that was big money.
Well, it was a little different back in those days because playing in the big leagues was what everybody wanted to do. So when I joined the team as an 18-year-old, I wasn't appreciated or liked by several of the older players on the team.
Had to earn your stripes?
Yeah, one of them, as I was leaving the clubhouse my first time in Philadelphia, first night in Philadelphia, he grabbed me by the shirt and really chewed me out and said, you don't belong here, you took my best friend's job. And I was scared to death, but hey, I knew what I was going to do. I was there. I threw batting practice to the older guys. When we got back to Detroit, I shagged for them, and they sort of started liking me after that.
And Tram, you and Lou Whitaker came up together out of Double-A, I believe it was. Why don't you explain how it all happened for you?
Yeah, when I signed in '76, I signed and went to rookie ball. And for whatever reason, there was an injury in Double-A in Montgomery, and they decided to move me up from rookie ball just to fill some time. But like a lot of things in life, guys, the injury, the shortstop that got hurt, didn't heal, and so they kept me. Well, in that little short couple months stint, Lou was in Lakeland playing for Jim Leyland in the Florida State Tigers. He was the MVP of the league as a third baseman. We go to instructional ball in September, and they say, you're playing second. And he didn't say a thing. He went about his business. That was the time that they teamed us together. We started working together. We both got called to the major leagues. Our first game, we got to play the same game. We got hits off the same pitcher. It was just one of those dream things. You couldn't have scripted this any better as far as for Lou and I. And again, to be able to say that we played all these years together, it's, you know, nobody could have thought it was going to happen. Nobody could have imagined it, but it did. And we're both very proud that we wore the Old English C for all those years.
And with Freehan's catch, the Tigers become the third team in series history to be down 3-1 and come back to win.
It took him 16 years to get in the World Series, and I know it's been a terrific thrill for you, Al.
Oh, it really has, Ernie. Our club came back again and won 3 good games in a row, and we got a great job out of Mickey Loris. Fantastic.
You watched Tram and I come up through and win a world championship. You came up through and won the world championship. Tell us about your managers, how they compared to Sparky and the guys after him.
Well, yeah, we were a lot like your team. Most of the guys grew up together, came up through the minor leagues together, and we had a veteran ball club by the time Mayo got there. But you know, we got beat the last day of the season in '67. And I think it really motivated the players when they got to spring training the next year. We thought we had the best team, and unfortunately we didn't win. But I think we were all motivated, in my opinion, from watching them work out that 68 was going to be our year.
And then in '68, you got hurt, didn't you? You get hit by a pitch and you broke your hand.
Yep.
And then one of the greater moves by a manager in the history of the game. Why don't you tell us about that?
That's incredible.
Yeah, I got hit by a pitch, and I got a cracked wrist, and I had about a month to go before the season, so Mayo called me in and said, Al, he says, you know, we want to get you back in the lineup. I said, well, you can't take Northrop out of the lineup. He's had a good year for us. He said, we'll get you in the lineup somehow, and he asked me to start taking some ground balls at third base. So really? I did the first couple of times.
The hot corner.
The hot corner. I go, hold on. And, yeah, get out of the way of those line shots. But anyhow, as it so happened, and as you mentioned, Willie Horton got hurt. So obviously I had to go back out to right field, and Northrop went to left field. And I really started hitting the crap out of the ball. So that's when he made the decision of moving our best athlete, Mickey Stanley, in from center field to play shortstop. Mickey always took infield practice. He never took outfield practice. We used to throw from the outfielders every day, infield practice, but he would always play shortstop. So Mayo called me in. He had Bill Freehand there, Norm Cash, and somebody else, and he says, I'm thinking about moving Mickey Stanley in to play shortstop. And we all said, well, he's the best athlete on our club. But that was quite a move by a manager in a World Series.
Man.
In a World Series, and it worked out. And in the seventh game, Mickey Lolich took the mound again. And tell us about Mickey Lolich a little bit as far as...
Well, Mickey could tell the story a lot better than I, but from what I understand, Mayo Smith, our manager, asked Mickey, can you give us a few innings? And, of course, Mickey said, yeah, sure. And he went to 3-4 innings.
More than a few.
And Mayo says, how you feeling? He said, I'm okay. And he went to 5th or 6th, and okay, I'll give you another one. And then when Mayo was about ready to say, how about the 7th inning, he says, Mickey, from what I understand, Mickey says, I'm finishing this game. And that's what he did.
I remember when they had rainouts at the old Tiger Stadium. Do you remember it used to be up on the scoreboard?
Right. Yeah. I mean, most of the rain delays, they played highlights of the '68 World Series. And we got a little tired of like, damn, well, we want to make a name for ourselves. And as athletes, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. 84, it just seemed like everything went our way. I mean, when you get off to a 35-5 start, my gosh, what does that give you? It gives you confidence. And it just was one of those dream years. I just wish we could have done it again. But unfortunately, we had some good ball clubs, but at least we did win one.
The thing about it, we were all so young, and you guys preceded me. I remember when Sparky gave us a talk one day, and he talked about some things that would happen in the prior games and what you're going to do, what you weren't going to do, and how we were going to be professional. He left his slippers out in front. You remember what he called the slippers?
Yeah, Cinderella.
Cinderella slippers. And he told us what was going to happen, and then he left his slippers in the middle of the locker room, and he said, oh yeah, he walked away, and he said, oh yeah, by the way, wonder what those are? Those are Cinderella's slippers. Try them on if they fit. There's a white horse at the door. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. But you know, it's just kind of interesting to think about how we all got to our World Series.
It is baseball's answer to New Year's Eve in Times Square. This one, vintage 1984. Let's go to the champions locker room and to Bob Costas.
Sparky Anderson, 104 victories in the regular season, Sparky. You add on the postseason, you lost only one. The composite is 111 and 59.
Bobby, I don't care about none of that. The only thing I care is the public could see, to me, one of the most class teams and people that I've ever been around. The young man that won the most valuable player, I say it, I don't care what nobody said. He's the best player in baseball. We fell that way. That's what we're going to say. He deserves everything. And when Alan speaks, he speaks for this team. I'll see you later.
Sparky took a liking to me because, you know, he was an ex-infielder, and he knew I was a sponge, and he tried to give me as much information as he possibly could. And I really am so appreciative of Sparky because there's a lot of people that have touched my life, and I'm very appreciative, but none more than Sparky, my #1 mentor.
Certainly.
And again, I'll never forget him. I love talking about him, as you do. But you know, our style. I mean, I was a baseball player. I wasn't, obviously. I can't even relate to, you know, you were an all-American football player, and you had that mentality, which I know was beneficial. And what, from my end, looking back at you, you're able to channel that finally. But it took you a few years to be able to do that. And again, you know, for all of us from afar, you know, we could never put ourselves in your shoes because nobody did it.
My favorite story about Sparky Anderson was in 1983 when we opened up in the Metrodome in Minnesota, and Sparky called me in to inform me that I would be a platoon designated hitter with John Walkenfuss. And I was really ticked off. I mean, he wasn't playing me this day. I wanted to play. And so I was doing my running, and he comes running over there, and he lines up in front of me, and he goes, "All right, big boy." He'd always say, "If I was a defensive back, I would cover you like a glove." And he'd be down there. I'd have my hands there. I'd be right on you. I wouldn't go for any fakes. So he got down there one day, and I was really pissed off, okay? And I'd had enough of his crap. So he lines up. He goes, "Okay, I got you." And I go, "Rosie, you're the quarterback." So I get down at 3-point stance. Rosie goes, "Set hike." I take off, look over my right shoulder. He bites, turn to the left, rolled Sparky like 10 feet, rolled him over about 3 times. Wow. He gets up, his hat comes off. He's like crying. He looks at me and he goes, "That SOB's crazy." And I said, "I'm crazy, or the guy who lined up in front of me crazy?" It's my favorite Sparky story. He knew I was pissed, and he came over and he wore it. The next year, we won the World Series, so I'm grateful for that. Do you have any stories like that about any manager, any favorite story?
No. You never questioned the manager. You were still hoping you're on the team.
Yeah.
And no, I don't know of anybody, if it happened or not, that was not in the lineup. We always thought that if you're not in the lineup, you didn't think you were good enough to play that day.
The thing is, and I'm going to get one out of the line here, was Norm Cash and the boys were on the team, and there's some stories, but we had some fun along the way. And we were not model citizens all the time. We got in some trouble. Now, you remember the one in Kansas City? We got snowed out for opening day weekend, okay? We went out to dinner, then we went to an establishment on the way home. And we used to always hit each other in the back of the head. So, you know, you hit it and you try and duck it away. So we're standing there just talking, socializing. I have a big wine glass in my hand. And Rosie goes to hit Tram, and he ducks right into my wine glass. And all of a sudden, he puts his hand up, and the blood is just running down. You remember that? He's got the scar on his head.
40 stitches later?
Now, yeah. So we take him to the hospital. We're going, "Oh, man."
And you know what? This is the truth. There was nothing going on. There was nothing going on. It wasn't even late. It was just one of those things again. And it happened to be with Rosie there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, unbelievable.
The thing is, so now we got to get it fixed, and now it's like you don't want to tell your parents, you want your parents to find out. We don't want Sparky to find out. So Tram's got 40 stitches in his head, and the next day you wore a cap.
Yeah, I had a mummy wrap, you know, obviously to
we had to tell him.
And I had to wear a size 8 helmet.
All I remember is him coming out and saying, "I know you were there, and you were there, and you were there." Now, you guys had to have, with Cash and those guys on the team, you had to have something there. You guys were mischievous little kids.
Well, Norm Cash was probably my closest friend on the team because we were older, and guys sort of had their own little cliques, you know. And I remember one time somebody sent Norm Cash a bat in the mail, and they drilled holes in it, you know. So we're facing Nolan Ryan when he was in his prime.
Oh, yeah.
So Norm Cash tells the bat boy, "Go get me that out of my locker." So he walks up to home plate, and the umpire says, "You can't hit with that." He says, "I'm not going to hit him anyhow."
Here's the score. the series of the year.
I told Alex Grammas after the worst batting practice of my whole year, I had terrible batting practice. I looked at my bat and I said, Greek, there's some thunder in this bat tonight, believe me, and there was.
One of the things I really respected you and was that, in my opinion, watching you, you were never afraid to fail. You wanted the opportunity. And I think that's so important. A lot of players don't want to be in a tight situation because they're afraid they're going to fail. And with that mindset, you're never going to succeed if you think you're going to fail.
I agree. Yeah, my whole deal was every time that I failed, something went off in my mind that, you know, because of course you played in Boston and New York and Philly and Oakland, you know, they let you know about it, and they knew that I had a volatile demeanor. And I would just say, when I win this game, I'm not going to say a word, but I'm just going to look right at you. And that was kind of, that's actually who I was. I mean, I was average in most cases, but I did some great things because of that mindset, and I think you have to have that. You know, thinking back, what was the most memorable at-bat out of all the at-bats that we all had in your career, and why?
Well, again, I think it goes back to the game in the World Series where I got the base hit and put the team ahead, and we went on to win the World Series. Even though it was the hit that I hit the hardest or a home run, it was one of those lucky base hits that we all like to get once in a while.
You do.
And it put us ahead, and of course the Tigers went on to win the World Series. But I think that the one time I was playing Mantle and the Yankees were in Tiger Stadium, and Mickey hit 2 home runs. I hit 2 home runs, and the score in the paper was K-Line 3, Mantle 2. So
you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that one.
He was pretty good, wasn't he?
Oh, he was great, and I was a good friend of his. So, you know, we kidded each other about that all the time.
Tram, how about you? Your most memorable?
Well, quickly, I'm going to say 2, but the Game 4 of the '84 World Series, first 2 times up, 2 two-run homers, we win the game 4-2. So, you know, that obviously is the highlight of my career, winning the World Series. But in 1988, there was an at-bat. We were losing the game 6-1 going into the bottom of the 9th inning against the New York Yankees. We rallied back. It was 6-3 with the bases loaded, 3-2, and I hit a grand slam, a walk-off 3-2 grand slam to win 7-6. You know, as far as just for a personal game like that, that was something I'll never forget.
And where you're at in your career.
Exactly.
You might guess mine was the Gossage home run.
Oh.
You know, over my career, my performance against him was negligible, okay, to say the least. He struck me out virtually all the times that he pitched to me. Here we get into second, third. There's one out. Lance is up behind me. The play is to walk me and set up the double play. Now, people don't realize Lance hit a home run off him his previous at bat.
Right.
So, you know, Dick Williams says 4 fingers, put him on, and Gossage is saying no. I mean, it's, you know, it's Mike. You want the infield in, you want him back, and, you know, Gossage is just mumbling, and he's saying, oh, you're talking about striking him out, which, yeah, I'm standing in the box. I know what's going on. So I've got to, I got to get that out of my head. I'm looking up in the upper deck saying, you know what, this is the World Series, and I see myself rounding the bases. Yeah. And Sparky's going, he don't want to walk you. I'm like, well, really? I mean, I understand. I'm seeing him shaking his head. And he's like, use your hands. Oh, really? Thanks for that advice. I never heard that before. And I'm like, $10. This is my time. That was my best at-bat. My all-time favorite at-bat was, I don't remember what year it was. We were playing Boston. I hit a sky-high, it's 440 feet center field. And it's going, and it's going, and it's going. And Lou's kind of waiting on second base, and I'm running. It hits off the top of the wrought iron out there, and now we're off to the races. They retrieve it in. They throw home. Lou slides in. He's out. Well, I'm right behind him because I didn't stop. And I run into Larry Barnett, the umpire, and knock him out. And then I stepped on the plate, and Ken Kaiser, the first base umpire, runs down the line, and he's going, safe, safe. And Ralph Houk came out, and they were arguing, and he's going, he's not safe, and Kenny Kaiser's going, the ball's right there. Well, there was 5 balls laying on the ground because all 5 had come out of Larry Barnett's ball.
fans of Detroit are great, and they just want to be not only fans of the players, but also considered friends of the players.
During the celebration, everybody all had a common thing. They had forgotten about all the negative parts, negative things in life. We all pulled together. We were all happy together.
It's a dream for me to be able to start and finish my career with the Tigers.
The fans of the city of Detroit, I started as a fan, got to see both sides of them actually. They encouraged me and pushed me. I remember celebrating with them on the field. They took the grass. I go into places today and see guys that have taken dirt from Tiger Stadium to celebrate our journey together. And certainly when you win a World Series, in our case, for a second anyway, or for a day or two or a week, we were all really one. I felt we were one. And I know in '68, that was the year after the riots, it was the same. We'll talk about the Tiger fans a little bit, the way they've treated us all.
Well, the Tiger fans are special. Detroit went through some bad times, but they've always supported the Tigers. And of course, '68, after the '67 riots, a lot of people said because we got off to a good start and we won, that we sort of brought everybody together somewhat in Detroit. But I've been blessed to live my dream to play baseball and play in the city of Detroit and to make my home there.
Yeah, I mean, they're smart. You're not going to trick them, that's for sure. And they're going to let you know if you're in the wrong, as they should. And they appreciate good plays, even if the opponent makes them. And
they're very knowledgeable, and I'm very thankful that obviously I grew up out west, and I was used to different venues with the parking lots. And I remember the first time coming into Tiger Stadium, Lou and I were coming off together, in a cab, and we came around the freeway, and I could see the transformers with the lights, but I'm thinking, where do these people park? I mean, I'm used to where they park, and they get 50,000 people in there, and they got the little lots or little gas stations or whatever, and I just was amazed by that, again, coming from a different background. But again, so thankful that the people in the Midwest and the way they supported the tradition that they have, that the people's parents and grandparents, I mean, they're Tiger fans, and through thick and thin, they're going to support you. And not every city can say that. And, again, I've tried to thank them, in the best way I possibly can. But once again, I'm just so appreciative and thankful that the way they've treated myself and my family over all these years. And still, I mean, try to tell the young kids now, I said, this is what you can have. It's still the same background, the way they support you. This is for life. And, again, that's a very special feeling.
I think in life, if you go back and look at it, you've had a lot of sponsors in your life. And the people involved with Tiger baseball, from the owners through our coaches that we all had, through the fans that we experienced, as well as our friends and our parents. They've all been sponsors, and they've allowed us to share these great memories.
We don't want to walk you.
And just saying that you are the champs for 1984 makes me very happy.
Kayline has scored, the fans are streaming on the field, and the Tigers have won their first pennant since 1945.